Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is the holiday season in the year 2022, and it comes around every holiday season that I like to make one specific cider because I typically make a lot of cranberry sauce for Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving and Christmas time. So, what I end up doing, and this is a good idea for any sort of leftover cranberry sauce or any sort of like jelly or jam type of things, is I make it into a cider. So this is going to be my Cranberry-Apple haze cider. I'm going to call it a hazy cider because I'm going to make absolutely no effort to clear this. No pectic enzyme, no clarification like methods like using biofine. I'm not going to even cold crash this. I'm just going to let whatever natural processes occur and hopefully get a hazy cider out of it. The intent of this is to utilize those Thanksgiving leftovers to your advantage, and I think it's kind of funny, or I think it's kind of fun, rather, to kind of experiment with some leftovers every once in a while in cider making. So that entire premise is to say that this recipe is not intended to be a one-for-one reproducible recipe. Every single time I make this cider, I make it a little bit different because I have a different quantity of cranberry sauce. And I use a slightly different recipe based on the bag of the cranberry sauce. This is more of like hey, this is what you can do with these leftovers. In general, what I have is I have 4.5 gallons of Treetop 3-apple blend apple juice, and I'm going to measure the amount of cranberry sauce that I have. I'm going to add liquid up to, I'm going to add about 1/2 gallon of liquid into it. So 4.5 gallons of 4.5 gallons of Treetop 3-apple blend, and then going to have 1/2 gallon of our cranberry juice. So those two things together will be put into a pressurized ferment over here, my Firmzilla All-Rounder. Got to say the whole name for product placement. And then it'll be just left to sit around. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to weigh the amount of cranberry sauce I have. It's not going to be any sort of exact science for how much cranberries are in here versus how much sugar. I follow the package, which I believe the quantity is 12 ounces of cranberries to a pound of sugar. I think that is what the recipe says. It might be something less than that. But anyway, follow the recipe for that and just made it per the package. And if you want to try and reproduce it, that's the recipe I used. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Oh, one more thing before I get started. After I finish up with this cider and I go to back sweeten it, I am going to be back sweetening it, stabilizing it with potassium metabisulfate and potassium sorbate in 50 parts per million metabisulfate and 75 parts per million sorbate. And I'm going to go ahead and back sweeten it with a cranberry juice. Just straight cranberry juice, not cranberry juice cocktail, just cranberry juice. And that'll give us our extra cranberry flavor at the end too, to make it kind of really cranberry. So hopefully you followed all that. If not, one of the fun things about cider making is a little bit of experimentation. So use this more as a template rather than an actual recipe itself. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, let's go ahead and measure how much cranberry sauce we have. I have it in pounds right now. I'm going to switch over between pounds and grams so you know exactly how much I have. So this is a lot. This is an entire container. Woo! That's a lot. All right, that looks like 2 pounds and 2 pounds almost exactly on that. And for the rest of this cranberry sauce. Okay, come on, bad boy. £3 pounds and 0.5 ounces, so just over 3 pounds of cranberry sauce. So that's a respectable quantity. All right, I'm going to add 1/2 gallon of water to this, and then I'm going to just bring it up to a boil. The reason why I'm bringing it up to a boil is because I want to sterilize anything inside of here. This has been sitting in the fridge. While fridge does, cold temperatures do impede microbial growth. They do not inhibit it completely. So this needs to be basically pasteurized is what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to be bringing it up to a boil for about a minute and letting it sit. A boil will be over the 160 degrees necessary to get into the full pasteurization range. So once again, I'm not worried about setting the pectin. It's already been set. I'm not adding pectinase to this because I don't care about clearing it. If you care about clearing your cranberry cider, go ahead, add pectinase. But that's not going to happen in this video. So, all right, I'm going to bring this to a boil with a half a gallon of water. All right, well, that is going to a boil behind us on the stovetop. I'm going to take this time to add our treetop apple juice. I like this 3-apple blend. It's a good neutral base. It's not too imposing. It's also not too remarkable either. So it's just an okay neutral base. The reason why I'm adding the apple juice right now is because I'm going to be putting hot liquid into this fermenter. And if you have a cold reservoir of liquid on the bottom, that temperature difference is not going to thermally shock the actual fermenter itself. So it's a way to kind of ensure that your fermenter is protected when you're adding hot liquid into it. Generally speaking, don't add hot liquid into plastic. But this method makes it so that you aren't going to thermally shock your fermenter. So just add enough of a liquid volume. I'm going to add 3 gallons here, and enough of a liquid volume here to make sure that that's not going to be dangerous. I'm not sure if there's an exact number, which there's probably a mathematical thing you can figure out to say what the volume you should be adding here in order to not thermally shock things, but I'm not going to do that math right now. It probably has a lot of temperature related things. So in general, just if you're at all cautious about it, you can also cool down your cranberry juice that you're making on the stovetop. But I don't really feel the need to be cautious about that right now. So I'm also pouring roughly to oxygenate as well. I want this to be, you can kind of see how the color changes to a more deep brown. I'll just put the actual juice next to it. You can see how these are 2 different colors. That's because this one has more oxygen in it. Also, there's some other light properties like refraction index and stuff like that you can, as it gets a thicker vessel, it's going to look a different color too. But the color change that's present right now is because the oxidization of this. So, or oxygenization. I don't know. There's words for these things. People always are going to correct me on words. In my opinion, the process you follow is more important than the vocabulary, but you do you. Okay, we have our hot liquid from our cranberry juice that we just basically made over there on the stovetop using the leftover cranberry sauce. I'm just going to pour directly in to carboy. Actually, loads of actual cranberries in there. Okay, so now that we have our cranberry juice added to our fermenter, I'm going to add the last 1.5 gallons of Treetop 3-apple blends, apple juice. Yeast we'll be using today is Red Star Premier Cote de Blanc. I did a video recently on this for wine yeast tasting, for apple wine specifically, and this yeast and AC4 were my favorites. This one had a better smell or aroma character to it, so I think that I'm just going to use that one. Full packet, directly sprinkled on top as per Red Star's usage instructions. 1 full packet per 5 gallons, I believe, is the ratio. And the yeast will rehydrate naturally as it goes over the next couple of days. So now is the time where I just go ahead and put on our cap to this pressurized fermenter, and I'm going to be setting the pressure to about 15 psi so that it is more carbonated when we get done. That just allows me to use less CO2 afterwards to carbonate these up during the back sweetening phase. All right, I forgot one thing, and I'm going to really quickly take a hydrometer reading of this. All right, we're starting at 1.054, so that's our starting gravity, which means that our cranberry sauce is probably really sweet. So more sweet than the juice is by just a little bit, about like 10%. So we're going to go ahead and get this started and set it at pressurized ferment, 15 pounds for several weeks, and we'll try it in a few weeks. I'll see you then.
Following primary fermentation, I then stabilized and back-sweetened the cider with 1/2 of a gallon of cranberry juice. For information about how to back-sweeten an already carbonated cider, please take a look inside the video description where I go over it in a video I made last year.
All right, it has been a few months since our cider was made, our cranberry ginger cider, and we're going to go ahead and give it a taste. This is a rather nice looking cider. I was going for a bit of a hazy look, but sometimes clearing things up is a lot easier than making things hazy, and I guess in this case it was the case. Our cider here is it's a nice kind of in between red and a little bit off red color. It has nice carbonation to it. Pretty good head retention overall. Yeah, just visually, it's a nice cranberry looking cider. So go ahead and give it a sniff. So on the nose, I kind of get this, like, I get cranberries, but I get like a really kind of, I'm going to call it like an earthy smell as well. There's definitely something bitter that's with the cranberries. Maybe it's kind of that like really dry cranberry essence. It's kind of hard to say. Yeah, it is cranberry. Not a lot of apple presence. Mostly just cranberry smell out of it. So cranberry and something bitter and earthy. So give it a taste. Okay, it is cranberry forward. This is like the initial taste that you get out of this is a very tart cranberry flavor. More towards the less sweet side of cranberry. So not like you would get like little craisins. It is more of like, okay, this is cranberry juice, not cranberry juice cocktail. That is the flavor you get out of this. Not quite sweet. Very cranberry forward. The ginger, it is present. It's kind of present on the back palate. So as you drink, you take a sip, you get that like ginger, little hint of it at the end, which is kind of nice. The apple character is here too. Like that kind of deep cranberry acid you get is kind of contrasting with this like appley malic acid flavor, which is quite nice, honestly. I think these two pair very well together, cranberry and apple. So we give it a little bit of a longer taste and kind of evaluate that. Yeah, it has that nice cranberry juice bitterness to it, kind of what you'd be expecting. I find that a lot of cranberry flavored things don't have that cranberry bitterness to it, and I kind of think that's what we got by adding that 1/2 gallon of that pure cranberry juice. I think it really kicked that cranberry up a notch to give it that bold cranberry flavor. This is distinctly cranberry. The mouthfeel is very, it feels full-bodied for a cider. It has that nice heft to it, which is, in my opinion, quite good too. Noticeable alcohol? None at all. I think this ended up around 5%, 5.5% maybe ish. I have my spreadsheet down below inside the description, so you can get an idea of how much roughly ABV we have inside the final product and sugar content and all the other fun bits that you could have for this. Overall, though, very pleasant. It's a nice looking cider too, which is, looks aren't everything, but when you have something that looks nice to back it up too, it's kind of cool. If you heard that vibration, that is my fridge turning on and off. Its compressor. It shakes the glasses on it. So overall, I'm going to go ahead and give this about an 8 out of 10. The bitterness I can see could be a little bit off-putting to people that are expecting kind of a juicy, kind of very fruit-forward cider. And if people have an association with cranberry to be a medicinal thing for like UTIs, I could see how this could be maybe on the realm of things that people were like, not something I want to drink because it reminds me too much of something else. Objectively, though, this is, I wouldn't call this a balanced cider. I would call this a very, it is balanced towards cranberry. It is not like, okay, all flavors are in harmony and singing Kumbaya together. That's not what this is. This is cranberry forward, and then it gets that little hint of apple and ginger at the end there, and that kind of makes it a nice, flavorful cider that is representative of cranberries. So I brought Justine down here to taste the cranberry cider. So she's going to give it an evaluation. She doesn't know what I said. I've already rated this one.
Oh.
So just tell me what you smell, taste.
This one smells appley.
Okay.
I like that one. It tastes like cranberry sauce.
Okay.
Cranberry juice.
Would you say it tastes more like the juice or the sauce?
Juice.
Okay. Yep, that's
But
what I would. No, that's what I would say. Yeah,
You
it does.
used the sauce though.
I did, but I also back sweetened it with a half a gallon of cranberry juice.
Yeah, it just tastes more like the cranberry juice.
Yep. Okay. And if you're going to rate this out of 10?
9.
Okay.
I like this one.
Yeah, I gave this one an 8.
So
we
we're
swapped.
opposite.
Yeah.
From the other one that we just did.
Yeah. So this is it's pretty good, in my opinion. So
I like it.
yeah, I'm gonna if you have stuff lying around for the holidays, I think this is pretty fun to have to make. It's easy, really. Anyway, that'll be it. Cheers and happy cidering.